Exchange of Western Pennsylvania is proud to present the Nerd Exchange, a show celebrating the region's contributions to art and culture, with the very best in nerdly review and enlightened geek critique. With your host, Tim Sedgwick. That's me. Living what we love and learning something cool and new every day. So let's get this game started, shall we? Because this podcast goes up to 11.
Sit around and figure out a fine, wasting time. Wait for the sun. It's time to shine, shine, shine. Wait for the sun. It's time to shine, shine, shine.
Welcome to the Nerd Exchange podcast. I'm your host, Tim Sedgwick.
You did this to me.
I am Kyle Everett Sember, aka Foobar, father of CthulhuTube.
And I'm also known as the Comic Dr. Awkward. Not that anybody cares. And with us today, we have a very special guest, the administrator of... What is the name of your YouTube channel? Hold on. Original Vlogger 80s. If you haven't checked it out yet, we will post a bunch of crap on the site when we put this up. Also, a very talented, old-school musician from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Mr. Weird Paul, how you doing, man?
Hey, folks, how's it going?
It's okay.
That's the most effort we're ever going to see put into this podcast, his intro.
Yeah, man. Wow. Quit making us look bad, man. You're all like,
all
I
right.
actually care.
Yeah,
I
right.
sound like I give a shit where I am
To
right
heck
now.
with you guys. Anyway.
Sorry.
We're recording here on Monday, the 3rd, I believe, yes,
Yes, it
of
is the 3rd of February.
February. And,
The day after the Super Bowl.
day
Or
after-
the Zombie Bowl, if you were watching the Zombie Bowl.
or the
maybe.
Kitten Bowl, if you...
Or the Kitten Bowl, yeah.
Shut up. Don't judge
What?
me. We watched the Kitten Bowl for a while. But anyway...
I got stuck at work for 10 hours. It was not an option.
And well, we'll talk about the Super Bowl a little bit because, well, listen here. Before we do, pause this and go to YouTube and go to Garfunkel and Oates. And when that comes up, put Garfunkel and Oates, Sports Go Sports. It is awesome. In fact, pause the recording. And we're back.
And the lesson is, kids, if you're a girl who's not attractive enough to get into the cheerleader squad, you can make a YouTube video insulting those people.
How many other Garfunkel and Oates songs have you listened to?
The Boxer, Mr.
Garfunkel
Robinson.
and Oates.
You're
You're
listing
you're-
Harbor
you're-
League songs.
I know.
You're being an idiot.
Yes.
You're being a troll.
Yes, I am.
You're trolling
I am
in real life.
I am
Trolling your own
Tim.
podcast.
Troll? Yeah. What the? What the hell, man? Anyway, Paul, as somebody who has made many comedic songs
Yes.
in your life, what do you think of that song?
That's a perfect example of how to do it right. I mean,
I didn't think it was mean. Like you could go really mean with that. I've seen nerds go really mean with
no, I
the
mean,
yeah,
sports.
you can look at this. You could look at this either way if you want to. I mean, I try not to view anything as mean unless it's very obvious that it's mean from the title or something. I mean, it's I think it's hilarious, and it's not. I don't look at it as being mean. Certainly,
Okay.
On a
It's
scale of
not
one-
mean like Kyle was.
it's fun.
On a scale of 1 to 5, I'd give it a 2. I mean, it was amusing, but it's not something I would share on my Facebook page.
That's a little low. don't you
Wow.
It's
Get the hell out of my house.
I watched it.
Well,
I watched it.
honestly, I gotta say, like, I love Garfunkel and Oates. I'm not saying I dislike this song, but it's not one of my favorites.
Okay, after we're done, I'm
Although
going to
the
play you
Latin
a
just
couple
made me
more
piss my
Garfunkel
pants.
and Oates songs.
I seriously
This one
have.
called The Loophole that you're going to love.
I
Yeah.
seriously have the Boxer in my head now, and I can't stop thinking about it. That's a good song.
So anyway, Super Bowl. What I think both states where the teams came from legalized pot. I think that the Seahawks obviously smoked some good sativa, and the Broncos got some bad endo because,
Yeah.
see, it's a pot joke. See, sports related and topical. See, I can do that.
Okay, can we stop
Yeah.
talking about sports on a nerd podcast now?
Okay.
Yeah. Let's talk about the commercials.
Yes, the commercial. I think Bob Dylan's commercial was brilliant.
That was really good. That stood out. I liked that. That was cool.
Paul, did you see?
Did you see it?
I have seen none of the commercials.
Oh my goodness! We won't stop again. I'll wrap it up for you. There's this voiceover for the whole thing, but you don't see him till the end, and he talks about how he says, basically get your beer from Germany.
Get your wristwatch from China. Or
No,
Japan.
from Switzerland.
Switzerland, of course, that's known for.
Have your phones assembled in Asia. We'll make your cars. And then you don't see it's Bob Dylan till the end, and he's there, and he's speaking very, very, not mumbling like Bob Dylan usually does.
Really?
It's just Bob Dylan going, we'll make your cars. And then it shows the car, and you're like, what the... But
And your mind is blown.
it was. And a lot of people are hating on it.
I was watching.
A lot of people
I was
are-
watching the Super Bowl with my mother, who has every single freaking Bob Dylan CD in the car,
Including the Christmas album.
and she probably does own it. She really does. She probably does.
Wow.
Own it. And she had never heard him speak before in her life. Just talk.
Right.
Like,
well,
and she kept asking, "Is that Bob Dylan? Is that Bob Dylan?" I was like, "It sounds like Bob Dylan."
and there's also
And
a
he shows
Coke
up,
commercial
that's
that
great.
caused a bit of controversy. What they did was, it was kind of reminiscent of, in the early 70s, they did the I'd Like to Teach the World to Sing
Yes,
commercial.
of course.
Oh yeah, that was.
But what they did was, they sang America the Beautiful, but they sang it in a bunch of different languages. Like, it started out in English, and then it just had all these Americans that were from other places originally singing. So it was like there's a line
singing
in-
very well.
a line in Indian, a line in Farsi, a line, and the Twittersphere blew up with conservatives, talk American, and getting really, really pissed. And it's funny because Coke is in an interesting position because the conservatives are hating on them for that at the Super Bowl, and liberals are hating on them for sponsoring the Olympics in a country that's extremely anti-gay. And I also read online, I didn't notice it, but it was also the first Coke commercial that had a gay family in it.
Really, I didn't even
One of
notice
the-
that.
I didn't either because I was listening to the music so much, but somebody said, oh, by the way, guys, in case you didn't notice, there was a gay family in there. So I like the commercial.
What
Yeah,
will
I
they
love
do
that
when
commercial.
everyone stops drinking it? I guess they'll just have to pour them all down the drain.
In all
Yeah, because Coke is going to go away.
Yeah, I was going to
Yeah.
say, in all honesty, is there anything Coke could do where people would stop buying their products?
Right.
Maybe a commercial with Hitler sodomizing Jesus, but I think that would be about it.
And even that, only half the people would stop.
No, yeah, I'm pretty sure you'd get new customers from the Aryan Nation and from people into
Love that new ad, man.
Yeah,
Coke is one of the
religious
12 companies that control the world.
yeah, religious
Yeah.
sadomasochists.
There's so even if everybody stopped drinking Coke, they own so much
Yeah.
other stuff that it's not going to happen. And now we're going to go to something really cheery, and that is Philip Seymour Hoffman
Yeah,
died a couple of days ago, and so why would you talk about this on a nerd podcast? Well, first of all, he was a nerd leading man, and you didn't really have that for a long, long time. But he, of my generation, he was 3 years older than I am right now. Of my generation, he was the best actor of my generation. And it's not just me who thinks that. Ask anybody. Ask anybody in Hollywood. They're going to say that. You're going to hear this over and over again. And I guess that according to news reports, there were like 50 bags of heroin in his house, and he was found in his bathroom with a needle in his arm. And I wanted to discuss it because, I've talked about it before. I'm a recovering addict and alcoholic myself, and the hatred that I'm hearing about online is really making me want to puke. So I just want to clear some stuff up for maybe people who don't understand it. Because, that what I'm hearing is, oh, he was a rich guy in Hollywood. He should have known better. Blah, blah. Fuck that guy. It's good he's dead. Idiot.
you're gonna have those people. You're
You're
gonna
going to have those
trolls.
people. You're going to have... But the thing about addiction is people who are addicts are broken in some way. They have a hole in them somewhere that... And you'll find this when people get into recovery, they find something to fill that hole. Some people go to a lot of meetings. I know people who go to like 4 or 5 meetings a day. because one of the things that is the enemy of the addict is time. Free time on your hands really gets you. So a lot of people are like, well, if I'm always in a meeting, I'm not going to use or I'm not going to drink, whatever. Some people give themselves over to Jesus, and that's their thing. And they're at church all the time. That's what they do. You know, what I did was start this. I started collecting again. I remember when I was a kid how much I liked it and how much, you know, being a nerd back then actually meant something. You know, that was a big
Yeah, it
part
meant
of...
you're going to get your ass kicked by the jocks.
Yes, but looking back, you know when they always say it'll build character? Being a nerd, even though I was never physically assaulted because of it, there were, you know, I can remember almost getting into a fist fight because I was reading a Mad magazine in 8th grade. And that was a, yeah, like, what the fuck you doing? Shoving me, like, I'm reading a Mad magazine.
Wow.
And they were like, that's for kids. And I finally looked at him and I was like, why do you care? How does this affect you in any way? If you really think I'm that much of a nerd, here's just one more guy that the girls aren't going to bang. That improves your chances, you freaking lummox.
You're very mature for your age.
I was. I was also very good at talking my way out of getting my ass kicked because I would just confuse them with big words and they'd be like, I'm going to go look up lummox and if it means something bad. But then
By
they
that
couldn't,
time, yeah.
But they couldn't find it in the dictionary.
Because they didn't know how to spell it.
So that's the thing. You know, I started the group for collectors because, quite frankly, my girlfriend was looking at me in a very blank way whenever I would talk to her about stuff. Not her fault. Most people do. She was just the person who was around all the time that I would talk to. So I'm going to find a group for other people who collect stuff. And that turned into this podcast. So, and Philip Seymour Hoffman, when you were the best at something and you've been acknowledged as the best, Academy Award winning actor, Golden Globe winning actor, I don't know if you got the People's Choice too, but every critical award you can get, and you're an addict and you have a bunch of time on your hands, and you don't have something else to fill that hole, we have to try to fix those people, not denigrate people. Because when you say things like, fuck Philip Seymour Hoffman, he was rich, so therefore he doesn't have the humanity as everybody else. The thing about addicts that people don't talk about is most addicts are nothings. Or they think they're nothings. Mm-hmm. There's something in their psyches that says, I don't deserve happiness, I don't deserve love, I'm broken, fuck it, I'm going to fill my void with heroin, or Oxycontin, or booze, or sex, or whatever it is. That's how I'm going to get through life. So if you have that online, that somebody, Philip Seymour Hoffman, the best actor of his generation, in his mind, in his heart, thought he was a nothing. Then people who aren't as successful as him, who are maybe trying to do things, trying to get out of that hole, if you're saying, well, this guy, fuck him, he should die and burn in hell, think about how that's going to make an average addict feel.
They want to give up.
They're going to want to give up, and they shouldn't, because you're important. That's the whole point. You embrace what you love. You live what you love. You learn something new every day, and that keeps you going.
Yes.
That can keep you going. That's what is keeping me going. It can work for you. So if anybody out there is listening and has problems with this, you can contact us. You can private message me on the Facebook page. I'll go to a meeting with you if you want. Whatever kind of meeting you want. I don't really do them that much anymore. But I'll go. If you need help, reach out. Don't let the trolls get you down because they're fucking assholes and you're not. I'm sorry. I just had to say that. I know. It's such a cheery way to start out, isn't it? And heroin! So,
I've got a bit of a fun story to share.
Oh, good.
That just happened. Well, right before the podcast began. I was down on the corner of 18th and Carson, repeatedly trying to call Tim. He wasn't picking up his phone for some reason. I think it must have something to do with my hatred of Ant-Man. I'm not sure why.
I told you.
I'm like staying there, like killing time, smoking a cigarette. I'm like taking some notes for the show, not paying attention, and this truckload of douchebags drives by.
Truckload.
Wait, we have those in Southside?
Apparently, like
We're trucking them in, obviously.
it was a rogue truckload of douchebags.
It's like the farmer's market, but for douchebags.
And I'm like sitting there taking notes, and I'm not really paying attention. These guys are like sitting at this red light, and they're like staring at me. And I'm like, okay, they're staring at me, whatever. But, like as like the light goes green, and they take off. One of them yells, "Nice boots!" And like without even thinking, I'm still ready to go, "Thank you." Wait a minute, that was an insult. But wait a minute, I don't give a fuck.
And then it's not an insult.
You get to a point where you just
Wait a
do not
minute,
give
wait
a
a
fuck
minute.
anymore. And you know what? I have a hell of a lot more respect for those assholes in that truck than I do for internet trolls out there. Because at least those assholes had the balls to say it while they were in my vicinity.
You could
Yeah, but
see
they
it.
waited
People
until they were
are-
driving away.
Yes, but at least they were not on the internet saying something.
That's still on.
Where people will say whatever vile crap they can get away with without consequence.
No.
Absolutely.
What do you guys
People
think?
believe they can get away with any foul crap without
the-
consequence online.
What do you think of the new YouTube standards that they put in place? Nothing.
What YouTube stand?
I'm sorry. Like,
They, on YouTube, you can no longer post anonymously.
Oh, right.
Like,
That
yeah,
oh yeah,
is-
we've talked about
that
that.
has
Yeah.
stopped. That has stopped people from commenting for sure.
People just make sock puppet accounts. Though.
But I mean, it still happens. People.
It does. You're never
I've-
going to get rid of it
I've
completely, but if you
seen
take it
some
away
bad stuff.
20%, if
Yeah.
it's at 20% now, and you can reduce it to 10%,
It's been reduced.
because
Absolutely been
apparently
reduced.
they're actually going after people. And there are going to
Really?
be trolls. Yeah, there are people who are like, where they'll go and not delete their accounts per se yet, but kind of go and go, listen, we know who the hell you are. We know, kind of like, hey kid, nice YouTube account you have here. It'd be a shame if something happened to it.
Well, I don't
Quit
know if
being a
I
troll.
support that. I mean, it's not like it's not a lot of fun when somebody writes on your page something that's nasty or whatever. But I don't know if I support that because it just seems like it's just it's killing a part of the culture of YouTube.
Listen, anything. I had a problem with my little brother, with him saying stupid shit online. I'm not going to get into it. It was just stuff that dumb kids say.
Sure.
And what I basically said to him was like, if you really believe that, what you're saying, you should be able to say it at the dinner table. You should be able to say it to me and to Dad and to Bart, my stepmom. You should feel comfortable enough to say it out loud in front of people. And it's the same thing with YouTube. You know,
Absolutely.
if unless it's bullying, unless it's like actual threats of violence, so I think that's what they're going after. Because there are people who are like, "Oh, you should be raped" or whatever, stuff
Wow.
like that. They're going after and saying, "You can't say that to another human being on our website."
That's understandable.
And they own the website. They can say that.
Of course they
I don't
can.
think they're going after people going like, "You're stupid and gay."
Like,
Right.
Boba Fett,
There's people that post that on 1,000 videos a day. You're stupid.
Greedo
and
did
gay.
not shoot first, and you should die because of it. No, there are people that say things a billion times, like so vile that you just go, how the hell does a human being come up with that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Keep in mind that's
A
coming from
comment's
the
a
guy.
comment.
Keep in mind this is coming from the guy who one of my favorite movies of all time is Cannibal Holocaust.
There you go.
Right.
And
Well.
I'm considering this crap on YouTube vile. I mean,
Okay. This is
like I've always thought, like, how would these people feel who say this vile shit feel if their employer, their friends, their family knew what they said about other people online and how other people should die,
Well-
or how other people should be raped for
well,
what
that's
they believe.
that's the thing, and like from what I understand, in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, your Facebook is an open book. Like employers can say, you have to give us access to your Facebook so we can see what kind of person you are as part of the interview process. So that's going to happen more and more, where people are going to be like, sorry, you said some vile stuff, so no, we're not going to hire you.
I'm sorry, you're on Team Jacob?
I told you, don't judge me. I like him hairy. Anyway,
Twilight. The
off.
story of one girl's
I'm
choice
gonna
between-
segue this into a topic that is, speaking of things that are getting vile, hateful comments on YouTube and whatnot. The new casting news from Superman 2, i.e. the Justice League. Trust me, in the next month they're just going to call it the Justice League. They got Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, somebody else that they're not saying who he is, but what character he is. But now we have Jeremy Irons as Alfred the Butler and Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor.
Now, my prediction is that I'll actually call it JXL.
JXL?
Yeah,
What's JXL?
Justice League of America. Just like they called the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen LXG. Just throw an X in for no reason whatsoever. You get the kids like that. The kids like it when the letters don't make any sense.
They like the mutants.
Oh, it's
They like-
X.
just put an X in. It'll make it awesome,
X has
man.
never gone this
So-
far before.
So, the
Kind of
real
like when your
X-Men.
screen name's taken, so you just put X's at the beginning and
Yeah.
So,
Put a 13 on the end.
what do we think?
69. 69. Put a 69.
That's
on
how
the
I
end.
ended up with Magic Stream
JLX
Bucket 16 on the
69.
website
Yeah.
once.
Oh, U812. What do we think about this casting?
The news about the kid from Zombieland being Lex Luthor, that is probably one of the... You know what? I don't agree with that casting, but he could surprise me. Heath Ledger surprised me. So maybe he could be a good Lex Luthor. I won't know till I see it.
I like him as an actor. I can't see him in the role at all.
Here's the thing, man. He played Mark Zuckerberg. Now he plays every role he's ever played the same way. The same
Yeah,
thing.
he's not-
He's going to talk like this, and you're an idiot, and I'm not. But he played Mark Zuckerberg, who is a billionaire. Lex Luthor is a billionaire. I mean, that's the first thing I thought was like, okay, so they're going to shave his head, and he's going to have made his billions in the internet and expanding out, and is an evil genius. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that Mark Zuckerberg just changed his name to Lex Luthor.
I could see him being
I
a
mean,
supervillain.
He could. He's hoarding money. Like Bill Gates, one thing you can say about him, like he makes billions of dollars a year, and immediately puts it back out into the world. Like, okay, we're going to eradicate malaria, and we're going to buy laptops for every child in Africa, and all that. Zuckerberg's not, man. He's just holding on. He's piling it up. I think he might be building an underground lair.
You
Can't prove that he isn't.
No?
Yeah, but you hear that, but then you hear about all the people who were millionaires who went through their money stupidly and ended up with absolutely nothing. Like,
think
name rock star from the 80s.
Well, yeah, but
So it's okay to
he's
hold
worth
on
a
to a
couple
little bit of
hundred
it.
billion now.
Yeah.
If you
Yeah,
take
but
all
that
his
crap
stock
can-
holdings in.
That crap can run out fast when you're MC Hammer.
He's not MC Hammer. Although I do remember when the recession hit, there was a story about a guy, German guy, I think, who was worth like $20 billion, and he got wiped out, and he was only worth $4 billion, and he shot himself in the head. And some comedian, I can't remember which one. It might have been Louis C.K. It might have been Jay Leno. I don't know. He's like, you realize this guy would rather kill himself than eat at TGI Fridays. Wait, I only have $4 billion left? I might have to live like one of them. So it
Dude,
does
if-
happen
if
that
I
way.
had
But,
$4,000 left, I'd be paying for lap dances all around.
well, that's the thing. That he's worth $400 billion. That could go away in a second. Brain hurts. How about Jeremy Irons? What do you think about that casting? Weird. Mr. Paul, help me.
That is some very odd casting news. I did not see that coming. I actually heard a rumor that the guy who plays House was going to be Alfred.
Huh.
But apparently that was bullshit. So I
The
think he could have done a good job as Alfred, though. Don't you think? Have you seen him in anything besides House?
I've seen some comedic things from England, actually.
Yeah.
But the thing is, one of the versions of Alfred in, I think, the New 52, I could be completely wrong, one of the versions of Alfred, instead of being just like an old, doddering kind of guy, was they made him like a former James Bond character who had retired.
Earth 2. That's Batman Earth 2.
Batman Earth 2?
A
Okay.
very good read. You should check it out, everyone.
But that it was like almost as if this was his cover, was being a butler.
Yeah.
Now, if they do that kind of Alfred, I can see Jeremy Irons doing it.
Yeah, Earth 2, he had like a military background, but whenever he was actually taken on as Bruce's caretaker, he was like kind of he was like living in the streets practically, going through, post-traumatic stress disorder. But he had all this history of military training and everything behind him. Really good comic book you should check out. There'll be parts in it where you're going to go, "Oh crap, I can't believe they did this to Batman." But then you read a couple more pages and, "Oh my god, that's awesome that they did that to Batman."
Makes
it's a really
sense.
good read. But Jeremy Irons, like we said before the show started, I can't picture him without picturing his role in Lolita, so... or Dungeons and Dragons.
Well, that Dungeons and Dragons is the one that but he is, Academy Award winning actor for playing Klaus von Bülow in the 80s. He just so smarmy and just, ugh. But he's a good actor. As long as it kind of makes me happy because now you know that they're actually going to use Alfred. And so, because Jeremy Irons, the money he commands, they're not going to have him just for a couple of backgrounds.
Right, he's not the back.
How much does he command?
Oh, probably at least $800,000.
To Hollywood, that's a drop in the bucket. How much you want to bet the budget for this movie is going to be at least $500 million?
Yeah, but Ben Affleck's probably going to make $10 million. He's probably going to make... Well, actually, you're right. Putting that, it's probably going to be $2.5 million. He's going to make $60 million, and he's the best actor ever! Jerk.
But,
What do you think, Paul? It's like, I don't know anything about these stories.
No, I was just formulating a thing in my head here about maybe Zuckerberg getting a part, and he could add to his
his billion.
treasure that he has.
Yes, because obviously, he's down to $4 billion, so...
actually, I hear he's playing Brainiac in Part 3.
That would be awesome.
That actually would be awesome.
Can you imagine? Like,
Crap!
you look just like the guy who made Facebook.
Wait a minute.
I did make Facebook. Oh my god.
It explains everything.
We're Superman. We're Superman. Oh, man. Okay. So,
We have completely lost our
we have
minds.
to talk about Ant-Man because I always want to talk about Ant-Man. No, we don't have to talk about Ant-Man. So anyway, they're changing the rules for the way trailers are done.
And I just learned of this before the show.
Yeah, I saw this on a movie program on the YouTubes. And they went over it, not really specifically, but basically everything you know about the way movie trailers are released is going to change.
Yeah.
Like now the rule is it can't be more than 2 minutes. You can't release it before 3 months. So right now, the way it works, as I understand it, is you premiere at a Comic-Con, the full big 5-minute one, but then nobody else sees it except the people who are there. Then they do a little teaser trailer in the theater, then a bigger teaser trailer a couple months later, then a minute and a half one, then a 3-minute one, and then a month before it comes out, then the big 5-minute one. Now they're not going to be able to do that. I think, from what I understand, they get each studio gets 2 exceptions a year where if they want to do we want to do 12 minutes of this movie before this other movie, they can do that up to twice a year. But after that, forget it.
See, the way it's always seemed to be, and I don't think this was a rule or anything, but the teaser would come out, and the teaser's about a minute long, if that, or a minute and a half. Then you get the teaser trailer, then you get the full trailer, then you get the television spots. And that teaser trailer could come out practically a couple of years before the film does sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're just trying to cut down on the number of trailers before movies. That's possible because people have always complained.
Honestly, what they're probably trying to do is make it so that the advertisements that are playing before the movies will actually bring revenue into the theater sometime this year.
I think this...
Because the last time I went to see a movie, I swear to God, all the trailers that were there, it was all the stuff
2016.
all the stuff that I was interested in. It wasn't coming out for 2 years, and it's okay, well, nothing good's coming out next month, I guess.
Yeah, but the crap that's coming out in 2 months or in 3 months, we've already heard of, and we've had shoved down our mouth because of internet advertising.
Well, that's the thing. Do you think they'll just put it on YouTube more?
Yeah, but does this affect the internet at all? No, right?
No.
So yeah, that's where it comes down
I mean,
to.
you know,
But what they're really trying to do is make it so that the advertisements in the theater are actually going to build momentum and enthusiasm for the movies that are
They're
coming
coming
out
up
in
in the
short
next
order.
couple months. That makes sense. But then, I don't know. I guess we're gonna have to see how many views they get. You know, if like, you know, because of Facebook and everything, you'll be able to say, hey, you know, in a week we're releasing this teaser trailer exclusively on this website or that website.
Yeah.
So you see how many views they get, and if they get like 10 million views worldwide, then it's doing the same thing advertising wise.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been a phenomenon ever since the episode 1 trailer came out of people going to see a movie just to see the trailer.
Yeah, you
I
mentioned
mean,
that
people
before we
went-
I
started
never heard
recording.
of
That
that phenomenon.
Oh no, it was big back whenever the Star Wars Episode 1 trailer came out. Meet Joe Black did really good box office numbers. I'm
Sorry,
not
I have
making
to
this up.
laugh.
Meet Joe
It's
Black
true.
did very good box
Very
office numbers
amusing
from
to me.
people who went in to see the Episode 1 trailer and immediately walked back out,
Wow.
Now
They
you
were
said
there
you
to
thought
see
that
the
maybe
trailer.
people were.
asking for money back after walking out after the trailer. I could see people being that big of a douchebag and doing that.
People do it all the
I
time.
really do.
Really?
Having worked in customer service as long as I have,
Man,
yeah.
The only time I ever did that, a friend of mine and I, we went to see Talladega Nights at the Dollar Theater, and it was $1.50 because it was Friday night. I was mad about that. Why am I paying $1.50 at the Dollar Theater? But we went in, and the movie was so bad that I really wanted to go.
Ask for your money back at the dollar.
I
theater.
almost did, man. I almost did. And my friend Teresa she was like, shut up. I'm not leaving. I drove you here. You'll walk home. I was like, I don't care. If I stay to the
You're
end.
not
I'm asking for my
responsible.
money in. But then at the end, the bloopers, you know how they show the bloopers
Sure,
and everything?
sure.
I laughed so hard in that 3 minutes of the bloopers. I was
Yeah,
like,
did they
okay,
come out
that's
your
worth
nose while you were
$1.50.
laughing?
The fact that that people would do that, I just find that really odd. You say this is prevalent,
Of people walking out after seeing the trailers?
saying I want my money back?
No,
I'm wondering how
I don't know
prevalent
about
that is.
that, but I wouldn't be surprised if that is a problem.
Yeah.
Because I have seen people, like, you know, on the Twitterverse or on Facebook or something, people talking about going to see a movie just because of the trailers before that movie. Like when something big like, you know, the Avengers trailer or the Captain America trailer.
Meet Joe Black flopped like a mofo.
Really?
Yeah.
How much did it pull in?
44.6 in America, 98 worldwide, right? The rest of the world. So 142, and it cost $90 million to make.
$44 million in revenue is considered a flop. What the hell is wrong with you?
Well, when
we
your
need to,
budget is $90 million,
Hollywood needs to give their budgets to Lloyd Kaufman. He can make like 1,000 movies out of
Yeah,
every
imagine that,
Avengers
right?
movie.
well, or give it to Kevin Smith,
Yeah.
and he can make 100 good movies out of that.
And the occasional Jersey Girl.
Yeah, we'll forgive that.
Jersey Girl was not that
The
bad.
only
No, I
Kevin
actually
Smith
enjoyed
movie I
Jersey
still have
Girl.
not watched.
You've never
I
seen
actually-
Jersey
The
Girl?
only one, yeah.
I've only seen
I
bits
actually
and
enjoyed
pieces.
Jersey Girl. I actually really
You
liked
can borrow
that
the
movie.
DVD
It's
if you
just
want.
like
I got a DVD of it.
I'll consider that.
Yeah, one Zach and Miri make a porno. That's like the one
I haven't
I've never
seen
sat
that.
through because I hate the guy that's in that.
Oh, really?
Which guy? Seth Rogen?
Funny movie.
Yeah,
Seth Rogen? How can you hate Seth Rogen?
I really liked him in Observe and Report,
Oh, I hate teddy bears.
but as a human being, like, I think he does like probably like put teddy bears into like a meat grinder or something.
What?
dude, it looks so cool when the stuffing comes out in the little shreds.
Okay, you guys keep talking about Seth Rogen and stuff. Okay, here's what we're gonna do.
Yeah?
We're gonna take a little break again. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna play one of your songs. Can we play one of your songs?
Yeah, that'd be great.
What song should we play?
Oh, probably I Got Drunk at Chuck E. Cheese.
All right. So enjoy this while we get our nicotine on. Weird Paul. And where is your CD available? On your website? Do you have the website?
I'm going to say weirdpaul.com.
WeirdPaul.com. He's got the 25-year retrospective going on. So here right now is Weird Paul with I Got Drunk at Chuck E. Cheese.
I got drunk at Chuck E. Cheese on several
Hello! Welcome back to what might be the last episode of the Nerd Exchange podcast. And because while we were smoking, we started arguing about movies. And we're going to have a bonus pod that's going to go up sometime in the near future because we're going to talk about all this shit again and argue about it. But, for right now, Weird Paul.
Hi. I'm here.
Tell us about your YouTube channel, man, because I've seen some of it. It's pretty cool. You did
Thanks.
something that before anybody else, correct?
Yeah. Well, basically, I mean, the thing is that my dad was always a big tech guy when I was a kid, and he always got the latest thing. You know, early in the 70s, was an 8-track player or whatever, you know, et cetera, et cetera. Well, anyway, you know, we got a video camera pretty early on. We got one in '84 before a lot of people had them. And, you know, I immediately, you know, grabbed it and, you know, even though I couldn't just claim it as my own, I decided that I was going to, you know, start using it all the time, much to my parents' consternation, probably. But, so I started filming myself just doing all these things. You know, I would just put the camera on, talk into it, I'd say the date, and start talking about what happened that day or whatever, and film different things. And, you know, these are just tapes that I had for, you know, well, it's been 30 years now, you know, since I started doing it, and I had these around for a very long time. A couple of years ago, I finally found a way to start digitizing some of the footage, and I had about 180 hours, I guess, about footage that I had shot. And I started putting clips up on YouTube, you know, short clips of this and that. And, you know, it got noticed eventually. I had done a McDonald's breakfast review in 1984, which is something you see a lot of on YouTube now, people reviewing their fast food. But, you know, nobody had been doing it in the early 80s, so it was, you know, everybody was all excited about it. And some of my subscribers were saying, you know, you were the first one doing this. You're the original vlogger. So I was like, you know, they said, you gotta be the original vlogger. So I started calling myself the original vlogger. Now my channel's called the Original Vlogger 80s because, you know, I was doing all this stuff in the 80s. And I did that. So I have a lot of videos up of me doing all this stuff in the 80s. I have a lot of things that I think are like the first ever versions of things. Like I do have what I think is the first ever playthrough of a video game from 1985. And it's a Commodore 64 game, and I basically just filmed the whole game being played through.
Which game?
It's called It's Only Rock and Roll, which is a game where you're in a band, you get signed, you start heading up on the charts, you tour, and you know your goal is to retire with a lot of money. So I played that through till I won, or my sister played it, and I filmed it. So I have that up. I think this is the first ever film footage of a man cave. So I went down to the basement with my dad, and he's down there surrounded by electronics, and the television's on, he's drinking beer, and that's from '85. So I have a lot of stuff like that on my channel, and you know, and people are kind of, you know, I think they're impressed, their mind's kind of blown that you know, they're like, wow, this is, you know, people don't think back that far. A lot of people weren't even born yet, so they're
30
like,
years ahead of your time.
It's been said. So I did that for a while, and you know, some people are telling me, this is great, Paul, but you know, this isn't really going to, you know, get people's interested in what you're doing now. You know, I'm a musician and whatever. You know, you need to do things now. Put yourself in the present. So I said, okay, I'm going to start vlogging again. I'm going to do new vlogs about stuff, but I decided to vlog about stuff that I still had. I've always been a collector, so I have all this stuff from when I was a kid in the 70s and the 80s. I'm going to talk about that. So the first one that I did that became very popular and went viral was I had this Commodore 64 disc that I programmed all these games myself. It was January of '84, so it's been over 30 years now. And I show all the games on the screen, and I talk about them. And you know, I always have kind of I look back at the stuff, kind of like, you know, what was I thinking? You know, I was a kid, but this is just ridiculous. You know, and that's the only way you can look at it 30 years on. You know, now you're an adult, you're heading for middle age, whatever. You're looking at this and you're saying, you know, and I think it's just something that Samuel Beckett used to write about all the time. It's like, you know, who was I then? Who am I now? It's not, you know, who was that person? A lot of times I watch these videos now and I say, you know, that is me. It's physically me, but that's not me anymore. It's just, you know, I'm not real sure who that is.
Getting Proustian about it.
Well, I think this is how my brain works.
Yeah, I'm still trying to figure out why the fuck I was wearing fishnets during the 90s.
So, okay.
We're all trying to figure
go.
that out. I'm
So-
trying to figure out why you're still wearing fishnets, but
Yeah, but at least I have them covered up now.
it's true. It's true. Wow.
So that was
So
very
what
popular.
were you doing 30 years ago, Kyle?
I was recording people's reactions to this video I had called Two Girls, One Cup. And have you
How
seen
old
it?
were you 30 years ago?
I was 5.
So it was a Sesame Street cup.
I wish.
You bastard.
Yeah, it was literally two girls
I could
having
never-
a tea party, but they only had one teapot and one teacup, so they were arguing over it.
No, it was this,
Yeah.
it was this weird thing.
That'll go
I could
viral.
never look at Oscar again
Yeah,
after
well.
I saw what he did to that girl.
Oh. My childhood is sullied. Let's see. 30 years ago, I was 13 years old, obsessed with Star Wars. Had a lot of Star Wars crap on the Starlog magazine would always have like a little poster.
Sure.
So my entire room was wallpapered with that. It was my what I called my pussy kryptonite, because any girl who came anywhere near it went, yeah, no, that's okay. I'll go.
30 years ago, I was
turn around.
obsessed with Star Wars, Godzilla. Still obsessed with Godzilla. And just horror in general. And Ghostbusters. All good shit.
Sure.
That's an interesting concept, though. Like, how different was I then than now?
Yeah.
Well, I had hair.
Okay.
You know?
Well, that's a difference.
I didn't have a mullet yet, and I never had a mullet. Shut up.
No, you said yeah. You said yeah.
We heard that.
We have evidence, my friend.
So let's timestamp this so we know when to
And the
delete.
last episode.
All right, so turn the volume up just before 40 minutes.
Yeah.
30
And
years
so-
from now, we can
so
sell
what-
this as
what
a
do you
studio
collect?
outtake.
Yeah, you're
Well-
about my age, right? We're in the same
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
demographic,
Yep.
as it were.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, the funny thing is, I'll hear a lot of people, they'll say whatever it was that they watched or listened to or liked or collected when they were a teenager, now they're like, I can't believe I did that. I can't believe I did that. I still like all of that stuff. If I liked a show in the 80s, I still like it. If I liked a song in the 80s, I still like it. I'm not going to go back and say, oh, what was I thinking? That's horrible. That stuff's not horrible. It's awesome. I
Well,
still
that's-
love it.
That's what being a nerd is, according to
Yeah.
Simon Pegg, and I totally agree. To be basically unapologetically love something, to non-ironically just go, no, it was awesome. It is awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, when I was little, I mean, I didn't have any money or anything, so I was collecting things that were free. So I would collect bottle caps off the street, or matchbooks, empty matchbooks that I saw laying around, or whatever we could get at a garage sale or something like that. And I'm still relatively poor, but now I collect things that are cheap. So I'm a budget collector. If I see something I want and it's affordable, then I'm going to collect it. So I still keep adding to the collections I have. Star Wars,
But it's
Dungeons and Dragons.
it's about the hunt, isn't it?
Of course it's about the hunt.
That's-
That's the fun part of it.
Because who knows? One day, I had a dream that I went to a flea market and got an issue of Amazing Fantasy 15, first appearance of Spider-Man, for $1. And some guy just had a stack of comic books, and they were old, and they weren't perfect. They were like the condition you would expect to see. He was like, oh, $1 a piece. It's like, haha, take all of them.
I have similar dreams all the time.
But every collector, I mean, my dad, when we have a bonus pod coming up where I interview him, because he
That's
collects
awesome.
old fishing lures and stuff, old rods and reels and fishing lures, and he kind of busts my chops at one point, and he's like, because I'm asking him, like, it always interests me whether or not people, if it enters their mind what something is actually worth. Like, because people say all that, no, I just get it because I like it. Like, really? You never go and see something in a flea market that's $1 when you go, I know that that's worth $10. I know that if I went into a store that was a retail setting, that would be a $10 item or a $50 item or a $100 item. That never, because that's part of the thrill for me,
Yeah.
is finding that.
Uh-huh.
And like, so this is what you want for this. This is your fair price for it. Cool. Not that I'm
Sure.
ever going to sell my stuff, but my dad was busting my stuff. It's like, well, yeah, but you have financial constraints. I don't. If I want to buy something, I was like,
Ouch.
but then afterwards I was like, Dad, so you're telling me if you had $1 million in your pocket right now, you would just go to retail stores and buy your stuff, or would you still go to auctions and garage sales and flea markets? And I was like, well, of course I would. that's the fun of it. It's like, all right, then
See?
quit busting my balls about
See?
doing it on a budget. You know what I mean?
Yep.
You know, I can go on on eBay and find like issue number 1 of Fangoria for a couple $100. If I was just like at some flea market or at some yard sale, like flipping through the magazines they had and finding that exact same thing for $1, it's more special that way.
Absolutely.
It's the hunt.
And you can remember
Yeah.
where you got it too.
You know,
that
it's
when
not-
you years later, you'll pick it up and say, "I remember where I got this."
Yeah, I do have stories about a lot of the stuff.
Yeah.
Like I collect antique bar signs. I'm really into collecting like old beer memorabilia and old,
Okay.
like the mirrored signs that they had. I've got a very nice collection thanks to Rolling Rock going out of business. I got a bunch of the crap in their warehouse,
Nice.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
like very old shit. And like whenever I go to a yard sale or to a flea market, that's always what I'm looking for. I'm looking for those old bar signs that someone got as a promotion, or they won a contest or something like that, and they got it out there for like $3. And also beer glasses, antique beer glasses. I got Spuds McKenzie glass last year.
Oh, man. How much you pay?
$1.
Oh,
At
man.
a flea market.
And that's
Like,
one of
who
those
remembers
things like-
that? You remember Spuds McKenzie?
Oh, yeah. If you put it on eBay and put $20
Yeah.
on it, there's going to be somebody in the United States who's going to be like, heck yeah.
I think-
Again, not that you're selling it, because, of course, we don't do this as a business. But as a hobby, I think,
I could go
I
onto
know, it's
eBay
something
and
very
find that
exciting about
Spuds
it.
glass for like $20 or $30. But just finding like that, it's like a treasure for me. now.
Absolutely.
Because
Remember
I found it.
the
I didn't
first, one of the first things I got on eBay
Mhm.
was like 6 vintage figures. And I think I got it for $12. And then shipping was like $5.
Yeah.
But I was like, oh, cool. And I got it, and I remember I got it, the box rattled. So somebody just like put it in the box and like didn't pack it with anything. It was obviously somebody just found this in their attic or their garage. Oh, I'll sell it
Yeah.
on eBay. And I opened it up, and there was a complete Yoda with the snake, with the little thing. It was obvious, you could tell that the kid
Yeah.
opened it and went, "Oh, that's stupid. Luke Skywalker." But it was perfect and it was pristine. And that figure alone, complete like that, it's a $30 figure.
Wow.
So, and that was that was like, ha 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 ha.
Yeah, it's exciting.
Yes, that's what I like about collecting. That's why we need to, once it gets warm, we need to take the recorder to the flea market, take it out to Trader Joe's
Good
or
idea.
Jack's or whatever that one is.
Oh yeah.
Rogers, Ohio. That's the one we want to hit.
Rogers,
Yeah,
Ohio.
that's a good one.
Yeah. We
Okay.
gotta like leave
'Cause-
really early in the morning to get there.
Because it's half and half when you go to the
I
flea
can
market.
do really early.
Half
I
the
can
people
probably
know
do really
what
earlier
they
than
have.
you.
Yes.
So they're like, oh no, there was a kid. Here's the problem too with going to flea markets nowadays. Thanks to Antiques Roadshow and all these and
Yeah.
Pawn Stars and
Oh
everything.
God.
I went and this kid had a stack of
American
old Star
Picker.
Wars cards, and they were dog-eared, and you could tell they were played with by a kid.
Yeah.
And I said, "Oh, how much were these?" And I'm looking through it because, of course, if you can find the C-3PO with a penis,
Oh, right.
that's worth a few bucks.
Yeah.
Whoa! What?
Wait, you don't know?
You don't know about the penis star? It's I believe it's number 217. I could be wrong.
One of the orange cards.
No, green.
Oh, it is one of the green.
It's one of the
cards.
green
Sorry.
cards, and it's a picture of C-3PO in the Millennium Falcon, but part of his arm is falling off just as they took the picture, so it looks like he's got a big old wiener coming up.
Yep.
And so
Seriously, it's not even like it kind of looks like that.
it's
I
like,
saw that. I'm like, wait, that's not supposed to be a penis.
yeah, that's
Right.
But they,
I need a T-shirt.
I
of
see.
this.
They
I see that
recalled
we
a
were
bunch
able
of-
to get the word penis into this podcast. So
And again, it was the lady.
yeah, chicks, man.
Like, when she
Chicks,
says
man.
that, we're allowed to say it.
I see.
But
That kind of reminds me of the Little Mermaid penis.
But this kid, I'm looking through it, and he's like, I'm not selling them, but
Oh, dude.
singly. I'm not. And I was like, okay, and I'm like looking through him. I was like, how much? And he's like, $30. But you seem cool, so 25.
You seem cool. Well, that's a compliment.
And I said, well, thank you for that, but this is not worth anywhere near $30. I mean, literally, I could go to Groovy. This was back when Groovy was still open down here on the south side of Pittsburgh. So I could go to Groovy and get this many cards in this condition for $1.
yeah.
I said, I gave you $5 for them. And the kid just stopped looking at me. Like, I said that, and he just looked past me. And I was like, no then? And he's just like I wasn't even there, and I was like, wow.
Right. Well, you went from a cool guy to the Invisible Man.
Yeah, like that, man. It's like a superpower. But, and that's the problem, too, is, like, something that I realize is just because it's old doesn't mean it's worth something.
Yeah.
Like, I've got a bunch of stuff that I love in my collection that is worth what I paid for it or less than what I paid for it.
Sure.
Now, if I go to an auction, and it's been a long, long time, but if I go to an auction, especially if it's an estate auction, I don't mind bidding it up to what something actually is worth, because usually that's going to the widow or the surviving family members. And I remember I was at an auction with my dad once, and this guy in the front was going, "There's nowhere that's not worth that much," because people kept bidding stuff up, and you could tell it was people who knew the family. And you'd have things like, "Here's a box of dishes," and it would go up to $10 or $20 because it was their neighbors trying to help this woman whose husband had died.
Yeah.
And finally, the auctioneer took a break, and he pulled the guy aside. It was one of those things where you could hear it, but you weren't supposed to be able to hear it.
Yeah.
But you were supposed to be able to hear it. He's like, "You know what, fucker? Pardon my French, but I'm just quoting the story." He said, "You know what? When you die, I'm going to do your estate sale for free. And then I'm going to sell everything you own for $1 a piece.
Whew.
How would you like that?" I'm like, I wouldn't like that. He's like, "Then quit messing with my auction, because I'm trying to make money for this family. That's what this is about. Are you really that dumb?" And the guy just sat down, started bidding on things.
Breakfast is ruined.
But but let's do that. One of these times we'll have a big expedition, and then we'll take the portable recorder.
That's awesome.
And then we'll call each other like, row M.
Yeah, get over
Table
here.
6.
Right away.
Dude, we should get those glasses cameras.
The Google Glass. Yeah, I'd be like,
Like,
but then you'll be able to see, like, you think you're being all cool, like, "Hey, how much for that?" $5. Would you take 2? But the Google Glass would be all shaking. How much for that? "Yeah, I don't want that much. What are you talking about?" "I'm playing it cool." Does that ever happen to you? When you really want something, and you're like, ha ha ha.
Usually when it's something I really want, I don't try negotiating.
No, I don't remember. Yeah, occasionally I started shaking, though, I believe. I was like,
Yeah.
wait,
I've
is that
started
what I think it is right there?
And what's great, though, is we have to stay for the whole day, because if you stay till the end of the day, you can get some good stuff really super cheap.
The shit they don't want to
They
put
don't wanna
back
take
in
it
They
the
don't
home.
want. Right. We take a truck with us, or we rent a U-Haul. Be like, "Why do you have a box of Harlequin romance books?" "Because they were $1 for the whole box." "I'm not a hoarder. Shut up."
Harlequin? I thought it was about Harley Quinn. Damn it!
Oh, that'll be so fun.
The erotic housewife.
They have it
And then there's
they have it on Fridays.
And then there's the Goodwill on the south side. I don't know if I should be saying this, because then people are going to go instead of me going. So don't go to that one. But
Yeah, it is
most
that far.
Goodwills.
Time mark.
No, we just went there this morning, and I got a copy of the VHS copy of Bridge Across Forever, Star Trek, written by Harlan Ellison,
Oh.
and a plush Spider-Man for $1.
That's awesome.
And they
Both of
had
them.
a Darth Vader with bunny ears.
They did.
Wow.
And I
was
was
there,
going to buy it.
The Easter Vader.
It was 99 cents. And I was going to buy it. But then I showed it to her. I said, "Look, honey, it's Darth Vader with bunny ears."
And then the girl who worked there made fun of him.
And she gave me a look that was so just like, "You will never touch me again if you bring that into our house." But I was like, "Merry Christmas!"
And I meant it.
So I put it
We got some pretty good grabs there the day we went there for when we were going to see Thor: Dark World.
Oh, yeah,
And we were
yeah.
gonna kill time. You got a bunch of Star Wars old school video games.
Oh, yeah.
That if you look for
Old
those on
computer games.
eBay or something,
Like-
those probably go for about $30 a pop.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah, no one saved those. No one thought that video games were going to be collectible.
Well,
when they
yeah,
came
yeah.
out.
When it was talking
They're
about
from the
system
90s.
requirements, it was talking about which version of MS-DOS you needed to run it.
Wow,
I
They were
seriously,
$2 a piece.
that's awesome.
I
got a little hot and bothered reading the old school tech talk.
I would actually have to
Sure.
build a computer to be able to play those games. They're so old.
So yeah,
but
but
yeah,
What do
that's-
you mean build a computer? My dad still has all those old platforms in the
There you go.
basement.
it's true.
I have to go into a Pittsburgh public school to be able to play those games.
Oh, zing!
Yikes.
So, okay, speaking of the value of collectibles,
Oh boy,
this
here
is
we go.
kind of a. It segues into. I was very upset by this story, and as I understand it, Kyle, I know you've been following this. Tell me if I got this wrong. The New York Giants are being accused of making fake sports memorabilia. What they're doing is, because what people do is they spend a lot of money on game-worn jerseys and helmets and all kinds of, shoulder pads, knee pads that are signed by the people. And what they're doing is, supposedly, Eli Manning doesn't like actually giving that up. He actually keeps all of his stuff. So what they do is they make BS ones where they'll send a jersey to a dry cleaner, and the dry cleaner will muddy it up and rip it and sew it back up so it looks like it was used in the game,
Wow.
but wasn't, and then bring it back to Eli. Eli signs it. Same thing with helmets. They'll bang it up and
Put a dent in it.
Yeah.
put it through the mud and the dirt, so there's mud from where he got sacked, and he signs that, and they sell it for a lot of money. You're talking, what would you say, probably about $500 to $1,000 per item.
If
Game-worn.
you were lucky, if you got an actual game day jersey for $500, you would be lucky.
But still, at least $500.
Yeah, at least that's where we're
And
starting out.
so now it's a big deal, because ever since they started grading collectibles, and it's pretty much only been since I think the mid to late 80s that they've actually had companies that their only job was you sent them your sports memorabilia or your comic books or your baseball cards or your non-sports cards, whatever, to be graded. Now you've got these companies that are basically just lying.
Yeah.
See, the big thing isn't, we don't know for sure that this is going on. This is just what the allegation is.
That's
about
the
them
allegation,
doing.
and there is a
This is what-
lawsuit.
yeah, and this is just the allegation. We're not saying that they did this. Let's be clear about that.
Yeah.
But the problem is, and why so many people are freaking out, is because the process of how this stuff is authenticated is BS. It's basically, okay, Eli Manning's told us that it's the real thing, so it must be the real thing, and that's the end of the conversation.
Yeah.
So all it's that's
Well, there
your
are other things, like-
authentication process,
There's
the honor system.
the most expensive piece of sports memorabilia was the Honus Wagner card from 1900 whatever. That it was sold for, it was either 1.8 or 2.8 million dollars. It was huge because this authenticator said it was a 9.9, and what actually happened was they trimmed the dog ears off the top and the sides. Like the actual card itself, like the picture was perfect, but there were little nicks, like most cards get that are 100 years old. And what they did is they just trimmed them off. And they sent that to the authenticator. And the authenticator apparently knew that, hey, this is supposed to be bigger. They trimmed this.
Yeah.
And it should have been, instead of a 9.9 or whatever it was, it should have been like a 4, maybe a 5, because that is a damaged card. It's not in its original form. But they instead decided, you know what? We decide that even though it's been desecrated, or whatever word you want to use for it, we're just going to call it a 9.9. And that affects collecting of everything, because if they can just make things up, how can you trust, especially, I mean, I think all of us here, I know I consider myself a lowball collector. You know what I mean?
Yep.
If I get a comic that's a dime, that's worth $5 on paper, but really I could only ever get $1 for it, that's a win for me.
Sure.
But when you're dealing with hundreds or thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars in difference, that's
That becomes a business, not a hobby.
that's like the feds could bring in RICO.
Oh, hell yeah.
They could bring in RICO like that because that is an interstate conspiracy. If they can prove that, but it's like anything. I've watched episodes of Pawn Stars where the guy has the authentication papers, but from somebody that another authenticator is like, I don't know who that is. I've never heard of that person. I've been doing this for 20 years. Obviously, somebody just printed up something that looks fancy and looks legitimate and said, yes, this is a legitimate signature, but it's not. You've gotten fooled.
See, the hilarious thing is, it's us that are putting the price tags on these things.
True.
An Eli Manning jersey in issue number 15, Amazing Fantasy, or Adventure, or whatever the hell Spider-Man was
right.
in. Thank you. We're the ones putting the value on those things.
Right.
As fans. I mean, if I could,
Based on rarity, yes.
Yeah.
Because nobody kept that one because it was a crappy series. There was only 15 issues originally, and that was, he put Spider-Man in the last one because he wanted to get it out of his system.
Yeah.
But when it comes to the grading system, I mean, when I started collecting comic books in the late 70s, early 80s, there were three. There was Mint, there was F, VF, Fine, Very Fine, and Poor.
Yeah.
That was it. There was no 10.0, 3. It was either like you would just look at it, use your common sense, and go, this obviously has been kept in a bag and is in perfect condition.
Yeah.
Or if it wasn't in perfect condition, but didn't suck, it was fine or very fine. Or if it was tattered, and like most people read comic books, leave
No
them
cover.
kind of tattered, or no cover or whatever, it was poor. That was it. That back then, yes, the fans kind of put the price on it. But now with the authentic, we have special skills, and we know this is a 6.1. If anybody knows of a documentary where they actually show how they grade these things,
Yeah.
Let's make one.
let's make one.
I would love
you
to-
got the camera
you know
from the
what? I would
70s.
It's a
love
new
to
Michael Moore movie
I would
coming
love
out,
to
I think,
take the
on that,
Venus de
actually.
Milo to a comic book appraiser and have them value it. I mean, it's out of the box. It's out of the box. The arms are broken.
This is
Why?
a 3.5 at best,
Yeah, right.
and I'm just saying that because of the rarity.
I'll trade you this trading card with CPO's 3 penis on it.
But the thing is,
It's a fair trade.
I don't buy graded stuff for the most part. I bought an issue of Avengers 47 as a first appearance of Vision,
Yeah.
and I got it for a really good price. I got it basically $100 off, like the book value for it, and it was graded 6.0 is $180. I got it for $80 because it's a buyer's market now because so many people kept their comic books. But anyway. So I'm not a person that really gets graded stuff, but now that I've started to, I'm like, wait a minute. But I do have a website where I put my stuff in, and they ask for the grade and it lets you know how much your collection's worth.
Oh.
And I always take what I think it is and put it down 1.5.
Uh-huh.
So if I think it's a 5,
Yeah.
it's a 3.5.
Gotcha.
If I think it's a 3.5, I put it as a 1 just to be safe because
Safe.
I'd rather someday find out that actually it's a 6.
Yeah.
See, we were comic readers during the speculator boom of the 90s when people, were grabbing up the issue number 1s that were polybagged with the trading card.
Which are all now in the quarter bin.
If
I did that.
And worth less
If
without the
that.
polybag and trading card.
It's true.
Or worth more
ridiculous.
without
Well, the
them.
thing is, there's you sent me a thing that said the collector's market is $1.5 billion a year
And
for sports memorabilia. The research I did showed that just jerseys, which I don't think is considered memorabilia, just like people going to Dick's Sporting Goods
Yeah,
and buying
a jersey.
a jersey, is $9 billion a year in America. $9 billion. And so if you add sneakers to that, because there are people who collect sneakers, I'd like to get one on the show because I don't get it, like even a little bit. But there are people, and these shoes have, tens of thousands of dollars a pair. It's just so. But put that in perspective. According to Diamond, I looked up the Diamond numbers. In 2013, on just first run new comics, it was about 517 million, which is a lot.
Yeah.
I think if you add collectibles to that, I'm talking everything. Star Wars, I'm talking about statues in the stores, talking everything, double that. So 1.2 billion.
I think even more than that. I mean,
and you go, I don't know. I don't know, in back issues and stuff like that.
when you think about like Star Wars collectibles, compare that to the NFL stuff.
Or are you talking new or
multiply
eBay? I'm
Either.
talking about stuff that's sold in stores.
Oh.
Stuff that's sold in stores, I could easily see the NFL beating out Star Wars 25-1.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Okay, triple it. $1.5 billion, which equals just what sports memorabilia like these Eli Manning things are, not even counting into money for tickets, money for hats, money for shirts. Advertising, but just if you add beer sales in, it's a huge industry. One number I saw online was $234 billion a year, which seems kind of high. But I think it has to be at least 20 billion a year.
It's very significant. It's a hell of a lot higher than a lot of other things because you got to factor in.
Right, 5-1, and the thing is, the stuff that we have, if it's graded wrong, it's literally the difference between it's worth something or it's worth nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And if you got these, if you think about it, you send a comic book to get graded. It costs $30 to grade the comic book. If they send back too many comic books where people think they've been underrated,
right,
then people are going to stop sending them
Yeah.
their stuff, because it's not just people sending Action Comic #1.
Yeah.
It's people going, oh, here, I've got this thing that if it's at least an 8, might be worth $50. So if I get it graded, I spend 30, but I only spend 5 for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the very business model that they have
they need to
would lend itself
grade highly.
Right. So it's like dogs and cats living together.
And let's face it, like the crap that we picked up thinking it was going to be worth money someday really is not. Like they did the whole episode of oh crap, what the hell's the name of that show with Kevin Smith's comic store?
Comic Book Man.
Comic Book Man, sorry.
Coming back this upcoming Sunday.
Okay. They did the whole episode about the Marvel trading cards.
Oh,
and how huge those were, and the foil cards. You were always looking for the holographic card because it was worth money and crap. And now they're not worth dick. They're not worth anything.
A friend of mine,
no one cares.
A buddy that I work with occasionally, brought in his set of hologram cards. He told me the story about how it was all summer, man, and nobody could get Venom. And I finally got Venom.
I got the Venom one.
And he's like, I just was wondering how much this is worth. And if it's worth something, sell it and, keep a percentage of it. So I went, I looked it up.
$2?
On eBay, it was anywhere from $10 to $50. But most of them were like $10 or start the bid at $5.
I'm actually surprised it was
and I told him, I said, it's about $10. And I explained to him, it's like, even though these are rarer than the cards that are completely worthless. And he's like, just keep them. He's like, no, man, this, you had all these memories. He's like, nah, I only kept these. I thought they were going to be worth something. It's like, oh, man.
See,
but the thing is, I'm holding on to them. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to wait about a year and go like, hey, man, I found these cards that you gave me. You sure you don't want them back?
Yeah.
And I think he's going to want them back.
Good.
I think he's going to go.
The nostalgia will kick in.
Yeah. I bet, like, as soon as he left that night, he probably went, oh, man, why did I do that? So.
I mean, I got the Walking Dead action figures for Christmas, and I broke those suckers open immediately so I could put them on my bookshelves.
I know, I believe I yelled at you on the show.
Yes, everyone yelled at me.
We yelled at
I
him.
always believe in enjoying things
Yes.
and not to say, I'm going to keep this in perfect condition. You should be able to enjoy whatever it is you have, and as long as it doesn't mean you're going to break it or anything, you should be able to enjoy what you have. You're
But we
only
all
going to be
know what
alive
happened.
once, so enjoy it.
We all know what happened when Sheldon decided to do that with the transporter.
Oh God, I've seen the episode.
We're talking about Big Bang Theory. I've
Yeah.
never seen the show.
You've never seen it.
I will go on record right now as saying I have not watched television in almost 25 years. So
So
I only watch movies.
okay,
Dude,
okay,
you know JR got shot, right?
Well, I heard it in the news.
yeah, but he doesn't know who shot him
No, I don't.
because he said,
But
"I
wasn't
don't
it all
want to
a
know."
dream?
It was
or
Maggie
something?
Simpson.
Oh,
No, wait a
okay,
minute. I'm mixing
all right
that
then.
with something else.
But anyway, I'll give you an example. I was at Too Groovy in Munhall, which, if you haven't been, go. It's a kick-ass store.
Yeah.
And they had a B-Wing pilot action figure in a bubble thing that had never been opened.
Wow.
Huh.
It was a little bit ratty. I don't want to say ratty, but like there was like tears up by where it was hung up and everything.
Yeah.
But he wanted $20 for it, or $25. I think it was 25, but he gave it to me for 20.
Yeah, that sounds fair.
And I was like, wow. And it was my first vintage figure that I got that was still in the package.
Yeah.
Now, what's it worth? Closed up? Probably on paper $50. If I wanted to sell it, $20. But I never opened that one.
Yeah.
That one is up because, you know what? For this, yes, I'm going to keep it in the package. But I don't really have a problem with people taking stuff out of the package. I'll bust your stones about it.
There's a difference between that B-Wing pilot figure, leaving that in the package, and Walking Dead figures and taking them out of the package now, I believe.
Well, let's put it this way. Put it into comic books. The very first Walking Dead, which didn't have a huge print run.
I have it.
You have it?
Yeah, I bought it on a fluke. I saw that. Hey, there's a comic book. And it's about zombies. Awesome.
Is it in a bag?
No.
Would you like a bag of
Okay,
more?
well, that's going to be fine, very fine.
No, I keep it in my bathroom.
that's
right
gonna be
underneath
like
my
a 4.
Hustler. Or whatever, you know. After I'm done rubbing one out, I like to read about some zombies.
A 10.0 or a
Portman
9.9 recently went on eBay for $16,000.
Cheapers,
Oh,
creepers.
Walking Dead?
Walking Dead.
Number one.
Motherfucker. Pardon my French.
Was it printed on cocaine?
It will be. I'm just saying
Time to
that
finance something.
the last one that they had at New Dimension, they sold for $2,000.
There's
Okay.
no fucking way. You're kidding me.
I'm not.
We're looking at a
That's
rich
why-
man, a future rich
You're
man,
like-
right here.
So, would you like a bag and board to take home with you?
He's like, well, shit, I got one comic book because it's worth more than the
Oh,
whole
I
comic
have
collection.
that. Wait, what?
Oh.
Now, could I use each individual page as tip money down at Blush downtown?
No, you have to actually sell the comic book first. Dude, put it in a bag and board.
That sounds like a lot of work. Fuck it.
Oh,
Send him get it graded first for
Hurry up,
$30.
Edition. No, that wouldn't be a bad idea to spend the $30 to get graded. But then again,
I'm not
You
selling
may not even
it.
have to get that graded.
I have it. I like the show. I don't want to get rid of it. Fuck it.
yeah, which is exactly why it's worth $16,000 in perfect condition.
Because you're keeping it.
And mine is probably not in perfect condition. And I
That's
know
true.
how this industry works because I worked in a at the freaking used record store, and I know that what you think your collection is worth is not what your collection.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
You want to hear a funny story?
Yes.
It's gonna be funny.
Let's hear it.
So I showed you my nerd bug out bag, right?
Absolutely.
It's a record case, and somebody had given me, due to a debt, a bunch of stuff. He's like, I can't give you money, but here, and like he gave me a bunch of comic books. He gave me this thing of records, and I assessed a value to it. I think for the whole thing, I gave him like $40 off of what he owed me. And he owed me a lot of money.
Yeah.
And I finally took them because I put them in a tote bag so I could put all my good comics in my nerd bug out bag. And I finally took them to the record exchange.
Oh god, there was your
That's
mistake
That's
right
the wrong
there.
place to take
And
them,
I went
perhaps.
and
Yeah,
granted,
you probably could have got a better deal at Dave's.
I don't
No.
no. Well, the guy's like sniffing him, like, I don't know, is this mold? And I was like, I sniffed it. I was like, I'm highly allergic to mold. They're not moldy, dude. Just and he was like, $1.
Right.
Yeah.
Out of the entire
Yeah.
stack, he took 2 at 50 cents a piece, and I said, so should I abandon these here or outside your door? Because I'm not carrying this crap
You
home.
still have the records?
No, I left them. I
You're
abandoned
shitting
them.
me.
I abandoned them.
See, just on general principle, I would not have left them
Yeah.
there, because fuck that.
Just on general principle, I'd at least put my fucking Walking Dead #1 in a bag and a board.
Whoa.
Well, that escalated quickly.
Where's Ron Burgundy? With the Miller High. But
This is all going to trace back to Ant-Man, I know it.
but anyway,
Oh.
just like in Avengers 237, when Ant-Man, who actually turned into Yellow no, but anyway. No, but that's the thing. Like, I thought I would get more than $1.
No.
Not at,
No.
places like, you.
Well, no,
Because
that-
places like that, it's
they're not
places
going
where...
to give you any money.
Yeah, it's places that... Like,
I've gotten good deals there.
people bring...
There have been times when I've had things like I had the original 4th series of Doctor Who, but it was the British version that they gave me a good price on. But if it's mediocre or crap, they're not going to do it. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not saying that what they did was unfair. I'm just saying I'm illustrating the point of, like, I thought I was going to get at least a pack of cigarettes out.
Yeah, I can understand that.
Which-
It comes down to, well, yeah, you
Reasonable
like you said,
expectations.
assigning your own value to it. It's like they're a business, and you're not going to be able to expect them to pay more than a certain amount.
I mean, like, the place that I worked, we would have, we would have people bring in vinyl, but we would have maybe 2 or 3 people a year who would actually look at the vinyl that we had available for sale. No one gave a shit about vinyl. And, like, those few customers who did give a shit, they would,
What
like,
era was this?
They would walk, pardon me?
What era was this?
This was the 2000s, the early 2000s.
Okay.
They would, like, buy, a couple of handfuls of records, like a big stack, and they would pay maybe $15 for them.
Sure.
Because they were buying stuff for $1, for 50 cents. Because we could not move that stuff.
And well,
Yeah.
nothing
can
I
move-
had was rare either.
Yeah.
Even regardless of condition, it was all like Fleetwood Mac
Right.
rumors,
Yeah.
stuff like
Yeah.
stuff that was not in any way like somebody would ever go, "Oh my God, they have."
Right. You
know,
can
whatever.
travel around to every record store in a day and find, hundreds of those.
And if you did even have that rare thing, chances are the kid who's working in that record store has no clue how much that thing is worth.
Right.
Because the kind of establishment I'm talking about, it's the kind of place people take money when they can't pay their gas bill for that month.
Yeah.
Like we used to have to have extra people on staff the week
Is
after
that right?
college was back in session, because all the college kids would go out, spend all their money on booze, and then have no money for the rest of the month. They'd bring us all their records and their DVDs and their
Yeah.
video games, and we would
Capitalism.
clean up on it because we were giving them crap for their good stuff. Capitalism. But yeah, that's how the industry works. Sadly.
Will you at least put it in a bag and board, man? For me, just so I can sleep at night.
You don't even have to tape it shut. You can just fold the flap in, so
You don't
you
even
can
have
still
to fold
take
the
it
flap
out.
in.
You don't even have to pull
Just
the
put it in
flap
the
in.
bag.
You know what? I'll like a compromise with you. I'll like stop putting my coffee cup on top.
Oh,
Okay.
wow.
Oh God! Dude.
I'm
Oh,
never
he's
lending you
apoplectic.
another comic book again.
I'm gonna get more coffee now. You talk amongst yourselves. I'm gonna try to keep from having a stroke. Oh.
Okay, I'll stop doing that. And like, I got this really awesome 1977 alien figure. I've been using as a doorstop for a couple of years. Still in the box too.
What?
It's glow in the dark.
I've had that C-3PO card. That's been on the bullseye of my dartboard now for about a year.
What? What did you say? I didn't hear you.
What?
What about the C3PO part?
I just been using it as the bullseye on my dartboard.
That's adorable.
So.
You better tell me you're crappy at darts, or I'm gonna
It's
slap your bottom.
Hack and
Very
slash,
bad at
actually,
darts.
Tablet game Reaper.
Listen.
Isn't that adorable?
That is very cute.
So you don't. I don't
It's
know if
just-
I showed you this before, but
it's
I
a-
actually made a nerd bug out bag. I took all my comic books, which on paper actually were something, put them in a special bag with a few of my, like, I have a Captain Kirk 75 Mego Captain Kirk that I got for $13 on eBay. That includes shipping. And I got it. I went on eBay. I was like, I'm just going to see what they have. And I typed in Star Trek. And it was like less than 2 minutes to go. And I'm looking at this thing like, what's wrong with it? What's wrong with it? I can't see anything wrong with it. Oh, fuck it. Even if it's the 90s reproduction, it's worth $13. And I bought it And it turns out, classic, all the stuff with it,
Wow.
sticker still on.
Yeah.
Correct tunic, because basically there was a light, the reproduction had a much lighter yellow tunic
Uh-huh.
for $13.
Wow.
That's in my bug out bag.
Sure.
So, if the place ever catches fire, I'll have my bug out bag in one hand, a cat in the other, and go. The thing is,
I'm in charge of Obsidian.
once you know what you have, man, if you have something that's potentially worth money, what I'm trying to understand your psychology of, whatever. So it's worth $3,000 now. I'll just leave it out of the bag and then spill coffee on it, and then it'll be worth $3.
I'm not using it for a coffee thing. It's just
Yeah,
in
we
with
were
my other
joking.
magazines, which I do keep in good condition.
And the
But
thing,
then again, he didn't know the value of it till now.
Yeah, I mean,
So-
well, I knew it was worth something
Okay,
because
do
you know,
something.
Do you smoke
but-
around your magazines?
oh, constantly.
Put
Oh, he's losing it.
it in a freaking bag, man.
Well, I mean, the other thing about that is you have how many things that were worth how much money because all of a sudden everybody wanted it at the same time.
Yeah, like when
And then 2 years later, everybody is either like, "Oh, I give up on that," or "Hey, I got it."
This has been consistently going up. Like before, as I understand it, before the TV show came out, if you have the first edition, the very first printing of it, it was worth $400 just because so many people bought it. And then the TV show came out. And now it's just, okay, we need to take another cigarette break while I try to calm myself down. And we're going to play another Weird Paul song, if that's okay with you.
That's great.
What should we play this time? What's good?
Oh, gee.
All of it,
Ah,
right?
They're all good, but we can't play all of them all at
the
once.
whole thing. Yeah. How about let's hear "We Love to Use the Telephone"? That would be a good one.
Weird Paul, we love to use the telephone. Coming at you.
If you wanna get out of the city, you gotta use the telephone. And if you wanna be the city pretty, you
honestly, that's one of those ones where it's like, because I have, I only have it just because, oh my god, that's fucking hilarious, and I can't just
Right.
leave it in the store. It was in, like, a dime bin somewhere.
Awesome.
And it's the same principle. I have a couple issues of a comic called The Devil's Panties. Just because how can you not have
Which-
The Devil's
which is
Panties?
awesome.
I would
Folks,
buy that too.
Let
No,
me,
that
let me
one's
tell you
not-
what
that
happened
one's
in the
not up
break,
for
folks.
grabs.
No, I'm just saying, if I saw it, I would buy it.
Here's
Not-
what
not
happened in the
today.
break,
I'd buy it
folks.
off of you.
I have a long box of comics that when we start doing conventions they're going to be free giveaways for, hey, join the group, get something for free, hey, check us out. And I told Paul that once we're done recording, you should look through it. He said, do you have any Dirty Pair? And Julia said, I think I might have some. It was Dirty Pair too. And she gave it to him, and he reached for his wallet. He's like, what do you want for this? He said, no, don't get it. He's like, what, really? The original intent, the reason it's actually called the Nerd Exchange,
Right.
is it was going to be a swap meet thing, where we get together once a month and be like, here's,
This is
because
what I've given
I was
you.
buying a lot of stuff on eBay. And a lot of times you get a big lot of stuff.
Sure.
Where you need one or two things, so you have all this extra stuff. So the idea was, well, we'll just all get together. Here's all the crap I don't
That's
want.
awesome.
Let me see the crap you don't. Unfortunately, nobody ever came.
I
We tried it a
understand.
couple of times and
I've
nobody
got
came.
that same pile of crap you're talking about at home, like all the doubles that you get because you bought another lot that has
Yes.
some of the same. Sure, I've got that pile at home too.
Yeah, the time you go to the comic book store and it's like, you can't remember, I don't know if I have this or
oh
not.
yeah,
It's
I've got a
like-
whole
Yeah.
pile of the same magazines at home. And stuff
Yeah.
like that. Yeah.
Well,
Or
what-
the oh hey, this is a limited run of 1,000. Even if I don't, or even if I already have it, I might as well grab another one.
Yeah.
Oh wait, I already had 3.
3. Yeah.
but the last Pittsburgh Comic Con, she was actually going through the was it the 50-cent bin, the dollar bin?
It was a dollar bin.
And she got an issue of Witchblade, same kind of thing. Like, I don't know if you, and she got it, and it turned out it was a variant sketch cover that somebody actually got the artist to sketch on.
Really.
Holy
Wow.
crap!
Which,
Yeah.
okay, she spent 50 cents on it. Legitimately, maybe $5-10, but that the hunt, man. And we got some cool stuff at Comic Con, but that was the thing. You was like, oh,
Yeah, I'm still
Holy
fucking
Grail.
excited by
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, my big thing is Night of the Living Dead on VHS. Because it's in the public domain, so during the 80s and 90s, anyone could print it.
Yeah.
So I used to have a huge collection of
Like
just
of every
every variant.
That's
every,
incredible.
Yeah, from like Brentwood films, Hollywood films.
oh, Brentwood
Blockbuster
films, yes.
But yeah,
Apparently.
well, that's one of the things I collect.
But
'cause-
Yeah,
So-
apparently I got those for free anyway, so
I
Very
think
cool.
I'm
I
passing
think
it
we
on.
should revive that. I think we should try it again.
Yeah.
We haven't tried it in a while, but maybe just, hey, bring all your doubles and everybody just look through everybody's stuff. Because the thing that I liked about it was a way to get new crap without spending money,
Sure.
which is like it's the hunt, man. It's
Budget
like
collector.
the
And the
budget
thing I
collector.
liked about it is, there's all those impulse buys at the dime bin and all that crap that it's like, 6 months later, I'm never gonna read this.
Yeah,
I don't
that's
really like the
collector
cover.
regret.
Or
Yeah.
I read it once and I'm never going to read it again, and it's never going to be worth anything, and it's taking up
And
space.
meanwhile, there's somebody out there who actually enjoys that.
Yeah.
Yeah, like back
What?
when I was buying comics, like the store I went to, they would always do this like this bag of like 10 comics that you could only see like the one that was on the top and the one that was on the bottom, and you get like 10 comics for $5.
You
Oh
dimension?
yeah.
And you would get like a Marvel, like there would be a Marvel comic book on the top,
Yeah.
and a DC on the other, and like in the middle a bunch of indie crap that no
Sure.
one gave a shit about.
Yeah.
You can find some really good stuff in there.
There's, I actually I stashed my comics on a website called Stash My Comics that Julia found, and I resisted for a long time, and then I finally did. It's like, oh yeah, you were right. But
Damn straight I was.
what it does is it tells you put it in, you put how much you paid for it, what the grade is, and then it tells you what it's worth. It tells you what your whole collection is worth. And according to the website, my collection is worth on paper now.
This is on paper.
On paper.
Purely on paper.
The newsstand price
And you downgraded them. Don't forget.
is, and I downgraded them. Yes. Waiting for the website to load because my laptop is crap and I can only blame myself. According to the website, the newsstand price is $5,238.58.
Not too shabby.
Wow.
I paid $2,501.54. I love the dime bin.
Yeah.
And the current value is $15,424.68 on paper.
On paper.
Like,
but
if I actually went and tried to unload it at a kind of store, like a record store,
Divide by 10. Maybe.
Right.
Yeah.
Maybe. If you're
Maybe.
lucky.
right.
or be like, okay, we'll take them all off your hands. Here's $1,000, whatever. But
Yeah.
it's just fun to actually know
Sure. Absolutely.
what it actually is. But well, I think we'll revive that. We'll revive the Nerd Exchange because then nobody showed up. And I was like, huh, okay. But all these people joined the group, which was really cool. And then it just became kind of the let's put up Doctor Who memes and other stories and, nerd-related stories
Yeah.
and share on Facebook the way Facebook sharers do.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's like, oh, okay, so I guess it's like a nerd exchange of ideas. Oh, maybe we should have a podcast. Well, that was the evolution, but maybe we could do
Very
the
good.
other kind of nerd exchange too.
Yeah.
But anyway, what else? What else is there to talk about? Anybody?
Death Star Kickstarter.
Anybody? Oh, man.
What?
Did you hear about this?
No,
Oh.
There is a Death Star Kickstarter.
Okay.
They want to build an actual Death Star?
Yes.
It's, 84 quadrillion?
Yes.
Ah!
They're trying to...
I'm not
That's the cost.
too sure if they're going to reach that goal.
And they actually figured out that that's what it would cost.
What I want to know is did anybody actually...
Oh
are
my
people
God.
actually giving money to this?
I will pledge.
I could practically guarantee they will probably get at least 10 grand in donations just from people saying, "What the hell? I'm donating $10."
Is there any? Have they included any sort of details on where the money's going? Is that an actual figure that they've
Well,
come up with
I have
on-
not given them any money because they would not answer my question as to how many stormtroopers I could kill, like I could choke to death with my donation. Because that's a selling point for me. I want to, I want to wear a cape. I want to walk around.
Well, okay. I'm looking this up. As I look this up, I'm going to say this. The government has a thing. President Obama has a thing
He decreed.
where if something gets 100,000 signatures in a petition,
Sure. You have
Uh,
to consider it, right?
they will at least respond to it.
yes.
They will at least give you an official government answer.
You'll get a
And
letter.
one of the things was the government should build the Death Star, and they sent back a very kind of official-sounding government. Well, although it could be good for national defense, blah 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 blah. There are other more important things that we have to think about. Blah 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 blah.
With planetary defense.
yeah.
But they actually, I can't find it on here.
It's not just good for rebels. It's also good for Cylons,
Yeah.
Dialects,
Sure.
lizard people, Martians.
It's not coming up. They must have taken it down as a joke.
Liberals.
But they actually that recently there was a Justin Bieber one.
Oh, to deport him back to
Yeah, I saw that.
deport him.
I so wanted to sign that.
I can't wait to see what their official response is, because they have to. Now, they said we don't care how crazy it is. If enough people care about it, we will answer.
All right.
Does anyone here remember the Star Wars program from the 1980s?
Yes.
Program?
It was like during
yeah,
the height
Star
of
Wars.
the Cold War. We were actually.
I was talking earlier to Tim about I made this Star Wars catalog, my own Star Wars catalog. I cut pictures of ads and put them in a little book. I made a YouTube video about it.
Nice.
And one of the things that's in there is actually a cover of Newsweek magazine that I cut out, a little tiny cover of it, and it says Star Wars real big on it. But it wasn't, of course, referring to Star Wars.
For our
film.
younger listeners out there, there used to be this thing called communism,
There also used to be these things called magazines.
and this place called the USSR, and we were kind of scared about going to war with them. So
because we'd nuke them, they'd nuke us, and,
so
nobody would win.
The
Right.
idea was kind of kicked around that maybe we should have, defenses up in space against the USSR. So
It
the
was
actual
all-
space program, which would involve weapons and that kind of crap, was tossed around a little bit.
My favorite one was that there was also supposed to be theories about we should make a dome that goes over top of our entire country to protect against missiles.
So anyway,
That was the last time anyone listened to Stephen King.
I found open source Death Star. It
That
comes
was
from
Reagan,
England.
I think.
people in England.
It's either Reagan or Nixon.
They wanted to raise £20 million. They raised £328,000. They still get that money, right? Even if they don't reach their goal.
No.
No.
No, you
No,
have
you
to.
gotta
No,
reach
the
the
thing
goal.
with Kickstarter is you figure out how much money you actually need to achieve this, and if you don't get as much money as you need,
It goes back to the people.
Yeah.
right.
Okay, so if they would have like put 300,000 though, for
Then they
like
would
to
have gotten
to
it.
build the initial prototype, and they got over 300,000, so they would have.
Yeah.
Okay.
They would have had to build a prototype, though.
Well,
Well,
they could have done
they
that
could have
with
done
a
that
golf
with
ball
Legos.
or something. Yeah, exactly.
They could have been like,
There it
Tim,
is.
I
This is
have
it.
an idea. We're going to build a Borg cube.
Dude, is this an excuse that we all get to get one of the Lego sets? Because I totally want that Lego set.
You could afford
okay,
that.
I think we might be breaking some federal laws here for conspiracy, but
Is it really a conspiracy if you make all your plans public? I thought it had to be
Yeah.
a secret plan.
Like, if you publicly broadcast your evil plan, like, I think that's why evil geniuses in, like, comic books and stuff reveal the entire plan. Because if they do that, they can't hold them at Arkham Asylum that long. Right? Or
put your
Blackgate.
Walking Dead in a damn bag. Anyway,
Let's call back.
Did you say in a damp bag? In a damp bag, right?
They're only damp.
They're
if
like
gonna
they're
have
like
to-
cigars. They need to be kept in humidors.
They're only damp
does
if they were
Tim
anywhere
Sedgwick gotta choke a bitch?
forced
Did
choke.
Tim Sedgwick just call me a bitch?
No, I called them bitches. Not you, baby. Because a bitch is a
Backpedaling.
bitch is a bitch, but not you, baby.
But there's three of us here, and a bitch is a bitch is a bitch. You said.
I'm a bitch.
So-
Is the story I'm sticking with.
All right, guys, I actually got it.
For the Nerd Exchange podcast, I'm
I'm
Tim Sedgwick.
I'm Kyle Simber.
Weird Paul, ladies and gentlemen.
And
Thank
I
you,
am
Weird
victorious.
Paul. And she is victorious. We'll see you next time. Hey, folks, thanks again for listening. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter. It's at Nerd Exchange. Like us on Facebook, the Nerd Exchange Podcast. And also join the group, Nerd Exchange, Western Pennsylvania. And if you have an idea for a segment, thinks we got something wrong, or just want to suggest a guest, it's the Nerd Exchange at gmail.com. That's the Nerd Exchange, one big long word, at gmail.com. Thanks again for listening. Don't forget, live what you love and learn something new every day.
As I sit in the back with my crown. Bitches get down like bitches get down. Motherfuck you, Mr. Underground. As I sit in the back with my crown. Bitches get down like bitches get down. Motherfuck you, Mr. Underground.